Yes, I got my hair together today, honey. I got my hair together today. Mm-mm-mm. She is looking cute. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here, my name is Georgia and I'm a US-based flight attendant, just traveling the world one day at a time. So it is December 2022 and I've noticed that a lot of airlines are hiring. Didn't I say this a couple years ago? Didn't I say this a couple years ago that after this whole COVID spiel, the industry is gonna boom and they're gonna need us more than ever? So yes, a couple years later, and industry is booming, and we need flight attendants more than ever, especially my airline that I work for. We need people, honey. We need people. So apply, apply, apply. We're accepting applications. Apply. We need the people. Also, I noticed that Delta is hiring, and Delta have changed their policies just a little bit. They've now shortened the time from applications to you reapply. Instead of every 6 months, it's now every 3 months. So get in while you can. And I'm not sure about United or American, but I know, oh, Spirit is hiring. I just know that I think Jetblue is hiring too. Like we're all hiring, honey, because we need the people. I believe that a couple years ago when I started my flight attendant journey, I was applying to airlines as soon as application drops. And it will be a while. For some airlines, it will be a while until you will see applications open up. For JetBlue, when I applied 2020, I believe their application process was every 6 months, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was every 6 months. For Delta, you just have to be lucky to see when applications open up, because it was just so rare when application would do open up. And Southwest, like people wait forever for Southwest applications to open up. You just have to be there at the right time to see when, or maybe have like an insider link to be like, hey, psst, just so you know, we're hiring tomorrow. But now applications are open. It is open season, honey, for you to pick, choose, and refuse which airline you want to work for. So I just want to touch on my little experience when I applied with JetBlue a couple years ago, 2020. So January 1st, 2020 is when I applied to JetBlue. I was so excited. I was so nervous. I did a lot of research into what it takes to be a JetBlue in-flight crew member, like what are they looking for, attributes they need to have. I was doing my research, honey. And I joined I joined two Facebook groups, the Flight Attendant Career Connection. Shout out to Abby. She is the queen bee of that page, honey. She runs that page, and thousands of aspiring flight attendants join that page. Even current flight attendants like me, I'm still in that group just to learn tips and tricks, and just to see like newbies join the group, and they're so excited to join their journey. I joined that, and I also joined the JetBlue aspiring JetBlue flight attendant group. I joined those two groups so I can learn and build up my, I don't want to say education, just build up what I need to learn to be a JetBlue in-flight crew member. So I applied January 1st, 2020. I had everything laid out. I had my cover letter, honey. I written my cover letter a month in advance, because I knew a month in advance that they were gonna hire in January. So from the end of November going into December, I started working on my cover letter. I worked on my resume as much as I could, like almost every day. I would look at it, tweak it, see, okay, what can I do to make this better? What can I do for my resume to stand out? Like I kept doing that, working on it as soon as I had time, my cover letter and my resume, I was working on that. Also, when you apply, always make sure, this is key, make sure that you have your passport in hand, because when you are applying, when you are on the page applying to JetBlue, they ask you for your, when I did it a couple years ago, I don't know if it says changed now, but when I did it a couple years ago, they asked you for your passport expiration date, because you have to have a valid passport when you are applying to JetBlue, because of course JetBlue travels out of the country. So always make sure that your passport is valid and in hand when you are applying, because they need to know your expiration date. I don't know it on the top of my head. I mean, I know mine now, but back then I didn't know it on the top of my head. So that was key. So I will never forget January 1st, 2020. First off, I was out of town. I was not home. I was out of town in a different state, staying with family, because Christmas holidays and New Year's holidays, so I was spending time with family. But luckily I had my laptop with me. I always travel with my laptop everywhere I go. If I'm going out of town for a week, I have it. If I'm going out of town for 2 days, I have it. And I'm on my layover now, and I have my laptop. I always make sure I have it, just for either to watch movies or to also send emails, check emails. You never know. So I always have my laptop with me. And back then I was in school too, so I was also doing assignments and stuff. So it was always good to have my laptop with me. Well, as soon as it was 12 o'clock, I clicked on the link, boom, applying. So I filled out everything. I filled out, all the basic things that they need, when you're applying for a job. So your name, this, that, make sure you have your resume uploaded, the correct one, the most recent one, and make sure you have your cover letter. I mean, it's not mandatory for you to have your cover letter at that time. I still don't know about now, but at that time it wasn't mandatory, but it's still something for you to upload, I guess, for you to stand out more, or I guess because you've taken the time to write your cover letter, just to show interest on why you should hire me as a JetBlue flight attendant. I guess that stands out more. So I want to make sure that I stand out, so I did my cover letter. When it got to the part when they ask you for your passport expiration date, I didn't have my passport in hand. My passport was at home. And remember, I was out of state, but luckily my family was home. So I called my mom, boom, mom, get my passport, tell me the expiration date so I can put it in real quick. Luckily my mom was home, so she was able to do that for me. Boom, got my passport expiration date, put it in, send in my application. All right, that was January. A week later, JetBlue sent me an email asking me to do the video interview. Okay, sis is okay, one step closer. I got my link to do my video interview. I think it was 3 to 5 days. I don't remember, but I believe it was 3 to 5 days. Or was it 3 days? I believe it was 3 days for me to do that video interview. So I made sure that I have a good working laptop or tablet. At that time, I think I used a tablet because I was still in school, so I was able to use my school resources. So I used a good working tablet with a nice camera, got me a little quiet room so I can, boom, do my video interview. I made sure that my hair was neat, I wore minimal makeup like this, just a little eyeliner, mascara, and some lip gloss. Make sure I look professional. I was wearing a cute blue shirt and my little black blazer, hair up in a bun, just look cute and professional. Doing my video interview, they asked me a couple series of questions, how will you handle yourself in a situation. The TV is distracting me. I need to turn the TV off. Okay, that fixed that. So so they just asked me a couple questions, how would you handle yourself in a situation, if you were working for JetBlue. I try to answer the questions as best as I could. They do give you like a time limit to answer the questions, but with the video interview, after they ask you the questions, the time, like, it's timed, so you're timed when you are answering the questions, but it's not timed until you hit the record button. So you can read the question and then go over in your head how you would answer the question. Like, so it won't start recording until I hit record. So I would read it and be like, okay, how would you handle yourself in this situation? Okay, so I would just go over it in my head, like how I would answer, and then hit the button and be like, so in this particular situation, I would handle it, like I would just, that's how I would answer the question. So I believe they asked me 3 questions, and if you mess up, like, there's a chance that you can re-record yourself, and I think you only get 2 chances. So if I mess up on the first time, okay, you have a second chance to start over and re-record yourself, and I think that's it. If you mess up on the second time, oh well, sis, skip it to the next question. Okay, and I believe it was 3 questions. I answered it and submitted the answers, and that was it. I was so nervous, like I was really nervous, but I did the best as I could. So that was that. So maybe like a couple weeks later, I was still in the JetBlue flight attendant group, and then everyone was so excited. Everyone was like, yeah, I finished my video interview and I'm just waiting for the next step. Yeah, and like we were everyone that joined the JetBlue group like the same time as me, we were all watching our emails like a hawk. Like every single day we would watch our emails like, okay, is this the day that we get the next step? Is this the day they're gonna say thanks but no thanks? Like we were all watching our emails, just feeling anxious and nervous, like, oh my god, is this today? Is this today? Is this today? So I would be in the group, and others would be like, oh my god, yeah, I got my face to face, I'm going to New York, oh, I'm going to Fort Lauderdale. Like it was so nerve-wracking. I will never forget that I was driving home. I believe I was driving home from work. I was saying to myself that if I get hired with JetBlue and I got JFK, then I would have to move to New York and then I'll be based there. And like, I was just going over in my head, like, what would happen if I get hired? And boom, I'm driving and I see the email came in. Boom, like my phone is on the phone holder thing. I just see the email came in. Boom. I was like, oh, is this a thanks but no thanks? Or is this a face-to-face? I had to pull over because I didn't want to drive and read the email. So I pulled over, and as I was reading the email, it says, congratulations, you have been invited to the Blue Review, honey. So for those who don't know, the Blue Review is JetBlue's version of the face-to-face interview, and I got accepted to do the face-to-face interview with JetBlue. I was real nervous, real anxious, real excited. I started praising God. I was like, God, yes, you see, and no, this is my dream. Ooh, a plane just flew over the hotel real close. Ooh, sis. I was so excited, so anxious, so nervous. I absolutely could not wait. And I was just like, yes, finally, I'm one step closer for working for JetBlue. So when they sent me the Blue Review, you have 3 options on where you want to do the face-to-face interview. My first option was New York. My second option was Fort Lauderdale. And I believe my third option was Long Beach. At that time, Long Beach was a base for JetBlue. So I said, and they show you like the time. So like it was all in March. So I said, okay. I was looking at my options and I'm like, Fort Lauderdale would be a good option for me because I live in Florida, so I can always drive down to Fort Lauderdale, do the interview, boom, 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 and then drive back, So I picked Fort Lauderdale. When I picked Fort Lauderdale, it was already full. Okay, so I reached out to the recruiter that sent me the email, and she sent me she sent me the link for 2 places, which was either JFK or Long Beach. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going all the way to California to do this interview. So, okay, JFK it is. And the interview took place in Long Island, like Long Island City or somewhere in Long Island at JetBlue headquarters. So that's where I did the interview. So, okay, it's the end of January and my interview is the first week of March. It was March 5th. I'm like, okay, I have a month to get all my things together. First thing, JetBlue does not pay for you to go and do the interview. You have to book your own ticket, find your own accommodations for you to go wherever you need to go to do the interview. So I need to go to New York. I live in Florida. I need to go to New York to do the interview. Luckily, all I had to do was pay the plane fare. I already had accommodations. You know, I could stay with family members. So I had the accommodations already. So I just needed to find the plane fare to go to New York. Okay, so boom, did that. I had the suit that I was gonna wear. I know how I was gonna do my hair. The shoes was last minute. Like the shoes that I bought initially, I don't believe it was in compliance. So I went and got me another pair of shoes the day of. I went and got me another pair of shoes to wear to do the interview. Okay, boom. So the interview was on the 5th. So I flew to New York the day before on the 4th. I believe they said to be there at 8 o'clock and the interview will start at 8:45. Now, I told my family member, I said, this is very important. I really want to get there early. I don't know where the place is, but I really need to get there early so that I can not worrying about being there late and then my anxiety, like I can't. So I really want to make sure I got there early. I got there at 7 a.m. in the morning. Now, in the JetBlue group, people always give their experience on their Blue review. And I would often read over different experiences from different people. Number one, do not be on your phone the whole time you're there. There will be JetBlue personnel, JetBlue crew member, JetBlue team members. They're watching you. If you're on your phone the whole time, that's a red flag. Like, you should not be on your phone the whole time. They want to see you interact with other people. How do you interact with other people? Because like that's what they're looking for. Like when you becoming a JetBlue in-flight crew member, how you interact, how you talk to people, how you portray yourself. If you're on the phone the whole time just texting, you're not interacting with other people, like I don't think they would like that. And yeah, if I was a crew member, I wouldn't want to see that either. You on your phone the whole time when there's like 50 people there you could be talking to. So as soon as I got there, I turned my phone off, put it in my purse. There were 2 other ladies there before me when I got there, so I was talking to them. They were really cool. I had already worked for JetBlue, but they work in a different department, so they just want to switch over to in-flight crew, which was really cool. So I was there talking to them, chopping it up, and then like other people just started coming in, and the more people come in, like I would introduce myself and they'd be like, oh yeah, Georgia, you're from the JetBlue group. Okay, girl, yeah, you made it, I see you. And then we would just talk and laugh, and before you know it, like there's 50 people in the lobby just talking and just interacting. It was really cool. It was really fun. Now it is now 8:30 and you see the JetBlue in-flight crew recruitment people just come in, and they started like asking for your names and checking your name off to see if you're on the list. Okay, boom. So we go into a room, and I think we're still in the lobby, but like we have to line up to go into a room. So they give you a little badge that says George, like it said my name and it said JetBlue at the bottom. Like we feel so cute. Like we get our little badge that says JetBlue and our names on it. Like we start to feel like, it's official. Like we're actually doing this, you know. And I'm in line and I'm talking to people, and a lot of people came there from Florida, either from Orlando, from Miami, from Fort Lauderdale, from West Palm Beach. Like, there's a couple people that are from New York. This one girl is from Virginia. Like, this one guy was from Puerto Rico. Like, there was people there from, but most of the people there were from Florida. Like, literally, like, from Orlando. So, like, I was talking to them mostly. And we're in the line, and they want us to have, like, our resume in hand. And they want us to have, like, a copy of our passport. You have to have, like, your official passport and a copy of your passport. So we had that in hand. There's already a JetBlue crew member sitting there collecting the resume and the copy of the passport. And while I'm getting closer to him, I realized that he was asking people to verify their expiration date on their passport. So when I got to him and I handed him my resume and a copy of my passport, I asked him, I said, do you want me to verify my expiration date? He said, no, you're cool. I'm like, all right, cool. So, okay, we go into a room. It's a huge conference room, and they have a whole presentation set up to tell us all about the company of JetBlue. All right, cool. So I sat down. It was like 50 of us in the room, like 50 plus. Sat down, and the table I was sitting at, I was sitting in the middle because it's a long table, like 3 could fit at the table. And I was sitting in the middle, and a girl on my left, she lives in Orlando, and the guy on my right, he lives in Orlando. So all 3 of us sitting there, we're all from Orlando. So we're talking to each other, be like, yeah, like, this is so exciting. I can't believe we made it this far. No, da da da, and you know, whatever. So while the guy on my right was talking to me, all of a sudden I just see like a JetBlue crew member walk into the room and came to the guy sitting at my right, just said to him, sir, can you step out? I need to talk to you. And he stepped out of the room. So me and the girl looking at each other like, sis, what was that? Like, what's going on? You know, so, you know, me and her are talking, like, because he came back in and he grabbed the rest of his stuff. And he said, guys, I gotta leave. And we said, why? Why do you have to leave? And he said, there's a whole discrepancy with his passport, because when he applied in January, he put the expiration of his passport, and it expired in February, so he had to apply for a new one, and it didn't get to him in time. So because like he didn't have his passport with him, he had to leave. And we're like, wow, that sucks, but don't give up, keep trying. You know, that's all I had to say. Don't give up, keep trying. And he left. So me and the girl talking now, and I told her I'm from Jamaica, and she's like, oh yeah, girl, I can hear it. I got Jamaican in my family, like, you my peoples, da 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 da. And we're there talking it up. And she said to me, like, Georgia, like, I'm so glad. And when I renew my passport, so my passport is brand new, fresh out the package. Like, and I'm like, girl, good for you. Like, my passport, I only had like a year and a half left with my passport, so like mine was still good. So we're there talking, and little by little, like, we just see a crew member coming in, like, taking people out. I guess it's a whole discrepancy with their passport. And like every time we see somebody, like a crew member come in, like immediately we're like alert, like, is it gonna be me? Is it gonna be you? Like, who is it gonna be? Who's next? You know? So the girl was talking to me, and she was showing me something. While in the midst of her showing me something, I see another crew member come in, like heading towards our table. So when I see him coming toward our table, she wasn't paying attention. So I tapped her. I said, look, look. As soon as she looked up, the guy said to her, ma'am, I need you to come with me. I'm looking at her like, what she do? Like, you know, she got all her things and she went out and she never came back. And I'm like, I'm sitting in my head like, she's telling me that her passport is good. Like, she has to come back. She never came back. And I was just sitting there by myself. The guy here is gone, the girl here is gone. I'm sitting here by myself like, So literally after that, the head recruiter, she came in and she was telling us the whole thing with the passport. Like, your passport has to be 6 months within 6 months within validity, and if it's not, then, you know, unfortunately, you know, because like JetBlue cannot be out here waiting for you to get your passport in and whatever. So once you see your passport is within 6 months, hurry up and get it renewed so that you will have your stuff ready and waiting, and, you know, to travel. So I was like, oh, so that's what's going on. But like, she was telling me that her passport was good, like she just got it, so like it's 10 years in validity. So why they sent her home? But I'll let you know about that later. So they came in and then they started giving us a whole presentation about JetBlue and the company, and if you would work here, this is what would happen. Like, this is what your starting pay would be, this is what your benefits, and this and that, and the whole everything about JetBlue. And then they opened up the floor for us to ask questions, and I asked a question because, you know, I want to make myself known. I want to make myself like, here, I'm here, you know. So I asked a question, you know, and whatever. And at that time, JetBlue hasn't started their service to London yet. So we were asking about that. I'd be like, oh, it's so exciting. JetBlue's going to London, and what does that entail? You know, whatever. And at that time, January 2020, that's when I did my interview in March. So that's when COVID just started to break out, and we didn't fully understand the whole thing with COVID yet. So we were asking about like the whole thing with COVID, like, what are you guys' procedures and things in place with COVID, because it's new and we don't know what this thing is, you know. So, you know, that was that. So after the whole presentation, then we went into the lobby. And then we were just talking to like the in-flight crew members that was there, that was part of the recruitment. We were just there talking to them, and they were just explaining the whole thing, what a crash pad was, and what would happen if, you know, like fresh out of training, you would either be going to JFK or Boston, and if you get Boston and you're not happy with Boston, with 3 months time, you can switch over to JFK if you choose to. You know, and, you know, they'd be like, but in the meantime, if you don't live in Boston, then you have to get a crash pad. And other people are like, crash pad? What's a crash pad? Like, I knew what a crash pad was because sis did her research, honey. I already knew what a crash pad was, and he was explaining what's a crash pad, what's a hot bed, what's a cold bed, you know, whatever. And yeah, so we were just in the lobby, and they wanted us to, like, there was a couple things they wanted. Oh yes, so this is what they wanted us to do. They wanted us to do like a group activity. So we were in the lobby for them to rearrange the tables for us to go back in to do a group activity. So we went back in, and the group activity consists of us working together on a flight. So I forgot. They were just giving us different scenarios and how we would handle the scenarios. You know, what would you do if you were the lead flight attendant, or if you were this, like, if a passenger came in and sit in the wrong seat and they want to sit with, you know, like just different scenarios and how you would handle the situation, you know, whatever. And working with my team, like I, you know, was a team player, and well, I am a team player, you know, and, you know, we were just showing and saying what we would do and how we would handle it. And in the midst of us, like, they were taking notes. So I was making a mental note of that, like they were taking notes of what we were doing and what we were saying. You know, so after the group activity, I believe I did a reach test. One of the crew member wanted me to do a reach test. I'm 5'9", almost 5'10", so obviously I'm tall enough to see in the overhead bin and close the overhead bin. And they wanted us to do like a I don't know, it was a speech test, but you have to read like something. They, you know, just pretend that you're reading something over the PA. So I did that, and like we took a little break. I mean, it's a long day. Like, it's a long day. We took a little, sorry, my accent is coming out. We took a little break. Yeah. We took a little break, and like they had a huge lunchroom, so you can go in there and get lunch or whatever. I brought my little snacks with me, so, and I wasn't really all that hungry because like my anxiety and I was just nervous, so I wasn't even all that hungry. But I did have my little snacks, like a granola bar and like water and stuff like that. So I was talking to one of the applicants. She was really cool. I don't remember her name, but she was really cool. So I was talking to her and how excited we are that we're here and everything. So it got to the point where we had to do the actual face-to-face interview now. So we went back to the lobby where the conference room was. We went back to the lobby, and they're calling people in there one by one to do the face-to-face interview with. Okay, cool. It was so nerve-wracking, so nerve-wracking, so nerve-wracking, because you're standing there and then you're waiting for your name to be called, and you don't know the questions they're gonna ask you and everything. Like, it was, you know. So when it got to me and I sat down, and they started asking me one of the questions threw me. Like, I know I gave an answer. I don't remember how I answered it, and I don't remember what the question was, but the question threw me, and I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever been put in that situation before. But I tried to answer it the best I could because, you know, I work for the school, my local school district where I live in Florida. I did that for years, so I try to answer it on my background of working within the school district. And the question they asked me, I try to answer it the best I could. And he took a lot of notes on like the answers that I gave. He took a lot of notes. He even said I took a lot of notes. I was like, okay, I don't know if that's good or bad, but okay. So after the whole face-to-face interview, I went back to the lobby, and I was not feeling confident in the answers I gave. Just by him saying I took a lot of notes, I was like, I wasn't feeling confident, you know. So after that, we had to go back into the room to speak to one of the managers, or he was the supervisor, or the base supervisor. So I went back into the room, and I was talking to, apparently, like, he was the base supervisor for JFK, because he said that if I were to be hired, he would be my boss. I'll be like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. So one thing he said to me, which I really loved, I would never forget, when he was going over the whole spiel, like, if you would get hired, you'll be based in either JFK or Boston, but if you pick JFK, most likely that's where you will be. And you know, this and that. And he was asking me how far. I'd be like, well, you know, I have family that live in Long Island. That's not too far from the airport. So it was just me getting to the airport, either Uber or Lyft, or if I need to get a crash pad, that would be cool too. He was like, oh, you know what crash pads? I'm like, yes, I've been doing my research. So he was like, oh, okay, cool. And he, you know, he was telling me about the uniforms that so like I would get to pick a uniform, and like you get like a set, and if you want more, you'd have to purchase it, you know, stuff like that. And he was saying to me, like, you look like a flight attendant. He said, you absolutely have the flight attendant look. All you need is a scarf. I said, wow, sir, thank you. I appreciate that. Because when I said sis put herself together, got my nails done, make sure my hair was nice and sleek, did my makeup, like my nails was nice and short. I did gel nail polish, so my nails were cute. Unlike right now, I'm out here looking ratchet. But yeah, like, sis put herself together. And when he said, you look like a flight attendant, I was happy, because I was like, yep, mission accomplished. You did that, girl. So he was telling me the whole thing, and, you know, if you would get hired, this is what will happen. This is what you need to. I was like, wow, this is amazing. You know, so after that, that was the end of it. That was the last thing I needed to do when I spoke to the base supervisor. That was the last thing I needed to do. And that was the end of my interview with JetBlue. But literally the following week, because my interview was on a Thursday, and I went back to Florida on a Sunday so I can be at work Monday. When I went back, literally Monday when I was at school, literally that's when COVID hit New York and shut down everything. Everything got shut down. Everything was put on pause. Everything was on lockdown. Everything. So Jetblue hiring process was put on pause. So I didn't even know if, if that never happened, I don't know if I would have gotten a CGO, or I don't know if I would have gotten a thanks but no thanks. But COVID came, shut everything down, and everything is put on pause. I'm looking at my watch because like I have an 11:30 van time to get to the airport. Yes. JetBlue kept reaching out to us saying, don't worry, your application is still valid. We're just monitoring the COVID situation and so on and so forth. And that was in March. December 2020, JetBlue reached out to all of us who applied and did the Blue review and everything. They reached out to us and they said, unfortunately, your application has timed out because we can only hold on to it for a certain period of time. So your application has timed out and you would have to reapply. And we were all just like, dang, this COVID just came and just destroyed everything. Just like, dang. So that was so unfortunate that happened. But you know what? That happened, and I'm looking back at it and I'm just like, well, you know what, girl? Probably JetBlue was not for you at that time. Where you are now, this is where you're meant to be now. So I'm looking at the time, looking back at it, I was so like, dang, like I was so close, and like just COVID just came and this happened. I was like, I was so sad that happened, but you should never give up. Don't throw in the towel. Always press forward. Always keep striving. You never know what could happen. And look where I am today. I'm on a 3-day layover in Vegas. I got here on Friday and it's Sunday, and now I'm leaving, going back home. So like, you never know. Like if I had gotten hired with JetBlue, I probably would have been happy there, or probably not, All I know is that my seniority would have been great. But like where I am now is where like I need to be, and I'm happy that it kind of worked out in my favor of where I am. And just, you never know what God has in store for you. So like, even if you don't get the CJO now, you don't get the face-to-face now, or you probably didn't even make it to the video interview, like don't give up, keep going, keep pressing forward, and wherever you end up, you'll be like, yep, the wait was worth it. This is where I need to be. This is where I was meant to be. And you'll be so happy that you didn't give up, that you kept pushing forward. So yeah, that's my little story, my little JetBlue interview experience. So as I said before, all the airlines are hiring right now, so keep putting those applications, writing those cover letters, working on your resume, and you never know where you end up. It could be American, United, Delta, JetBlue, or where I'm at. You never know. Just keep pushing forward. So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you later, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys soon.